Hello friends, welcome to Salesforce Cinematics video session 156. So basically in today's video, we will discuss about what is the difference between each of the charts which are present, subcharts which are present under grid, right? So that is, we have the heat map, the matrix and the tree map. Okay, so we will understand what is the difference between each one of the subcharts. Okay, so anyways, we have actually, like when I was explaining each one of the subcharts in the previous session, I took one session to complete all the charts. I already explained you in a way like what is the things which are present in one of them. So I think this will be quite a shorter session where I will just quickly walk through what is the difference between each one of them, which is I think you must have got some idea when I covered in the last session in detailed manner each of the subcharts which are present in the grid. Okay. So firstly, what I will do is I will open this option of heat map which we did. I will open this option of matrix chart as well as I will open this option of tree map. Okay. Now I will just jump to formatting very quickly. Same thing over here. And I will jump to formatting over here as well. Okay. Now, firstly, if you see legend tooltips, chart markers, I think these are all present. Okay. Legend tooltip, I mean, these are similarities basically. Okay. Legend tooltip, trellis. Yeah, I think one difference I just found out it is that the trellis option, right? So that trellis option is something you actually don't have over here. Okay, so that is one point of difference where you don't have this option of trellis. Okay, so for example, what I like if I go for the tree map, okay, and here let's say I choose something like stage bucket, for example. Okay, so as you can see, this is how this whole thing is. This is a perfect example for trellis. And if I just go over here, this options which are under trellis, that is like something which we already knew previously. What are the things which we find under trellis? Okay. Now, one more thing is what I will do is I will just duplicate this and we will just check what are the essential things which are actually required. I think this is something which I copied in my notepad as well. So what I will do is I will quickly open the notepad. Okay, so as you can see here, like for tree map, this is something which we definitely needed, at least one field for the segment type and one field for segments. Okay, so what happens is like if you, like for example, if I open this particular data set and if I go to the heat map, okay, so automatically it shows up like if you just have the counter flow, something will show up in the heat map. That is for you. Like automatically we have the counter. That is fine. You don't need anything extra. This is more like to create the axis, which is a different thing, but you don't need anything extra over here. Okay. Now, similarly, if I jump to the matrix, again it's something which comes up as a circle over here. Okay, automatically the bubble size and bubble color will take the same thing. I cannot delete anything from here, but automatically that will be there. You can go for different option, which is fine. Like we can have the color as well as like we can identify what is the different measures by the color as well as the size. Okay, that's a different thing, but eventually it opens up. Okay, now if I also go for, let's say, tree map, yeah. Okay, now here it automatically doesn't open up because one field is there, but you need one field for segment. So that's first difference. Of course, you can just check out, like you can just note this particular term that basically when it comes to the heat map and the matrix, automatically something will open up. There's no minimum requirement which has to be there. Okay, like of course the bubble size and bubble circle that can take the same measures. Okay, but when it comes to tree map, just one measure in the segment size won't matter. You need to have one more field on the segment. That is the first point of difference which has to be noted down. Okay, the second point of difference as we are walking through is this one, that when it comes to the heat map and when it comes to the matrix, you don't have something called as trellis. The trellis option is not there. Trellis option is something which is only present under tree map. Okay, and we can of course play around with the options which are available under trellis. So these are the two difference. Of course, I will recap whatever difference we'll walk through, but these are the two difference. And thirdly, of course, it's a visualization aspect. So as you can see here, it's more like the x-axis, y-axis kind of a thing, visualization. Okay, you will get that x-axis, y-axis, and you can, yeah, that's more of a thing. Like you will have a square, rectangle, or square, whatever you call it, and under those grid, you will have each square or rectangle, square box as well. Okay, as a grid, that's the pattern for heat map. Okay, and when it comes to the matrix, it's more like you can go for circles, right? So you can go for circles over here, and by the circles, we can differentiate between the, like if the dimensions are different, we can differentiate between the size of the circle and the color of the circle. Okay, like it's the bubble or not also circle. We can call it as a bubble. As the name suggests, matrix, we actually identify the grid is more like a bubbles, and through bubbles we identify that. Now, when it comes to tree map, as it's basically suggesting, it's also more like a rectangular kind of a thing. Okay, where you can identify, okay, what is, like it's more like a rectangular kind of a thing where each grid is being identified. So yeah, three parts we already walked through. The first one is the visualization aspect. The second part is, what's the minimum requirement to ensure the chart gets displayed. The third is related to whether the trellis option is open or not. Now, other than that, the fourth option, as we can see, the fourth difference is definitely the axis, right? We need the x-axis by, so basically to have an appropriate visualization, we need the x-axis and y-axis, something which is there also under this matrix chart. Okay. Now, basically, that is something which is not there. The axis part is something which is not there under the tree map. Okay, that's the fourth point of difference we have definitely identified. Okay, it's more like, if you have trellis, you will not have that particular axis part into consideration. So that's another thing. Fine. So yeah, this is all the things, and definitely the fifth part can be that, I think the color part. Yeah, basically when it comes to the heat map, we can identify with colors. Okay, we can identify only with colors aspect, and definitely when it comes to tree map as well, we can identify with the color aspect. So here, of course, the color aspect is more like, just okay. Here the color aspect is more like a bin kind of that bin kind of that conditional formatting, where you can know from the low color to the high color. Definitely you can change this by applying the conditional formatting, but by default you will have that low color to high color range. When it comes to the tree map, you will have different colors altogether. Okay, for all that, for all the grids, all the different grids which are present, you can have complete different colors altogether when it comes under tree map. Okay, that's the fifth point of difference we can walk through. And definitely when it comes to matrix, it's more like you can identify with the color as well as the size of the bubble of, the two dimensions which are there. Okay, so we walk through five difference, and definitely I can give a complete recap as well, but I hope you're listening to me, because when I give the complete recap, I may just miss one or two points, but I think till now we have walked through five kind of differences which are there in each of the subcharts which are present under grids. Okay. Now, the last part is actually if I go to heat map, like if I open all of those metrics, I don't think so there's much of a difference over there, because here, yeah, you can show the value as, which is something. Okay. Yeah. When it comes to the tree map, you can actually ideally show the numbers, because here these are not required, right? These are not required because, you are already having the access. Through access, you can identify that. So yeah, when it comes to tree map, you have that option of showing the number as how you want to show the value as. But yeah, when it comes to basically other map, it's more like an alignment, how you want to auto fit it. Okay. That's the 6 points of difference. So basically when it comes to the matrix as well as the heat map, it's like, that option comes up where you get to see how you can fit it within the widget. But when it comes to tree map, it's more like how you want to show the value as, right? That's the 6 point of difference. I think, yeah, that's it about this one. Okay, maybe I can save this tree map as well, which I did with the, where I brought in the credits, because yeah, this kind of makes it a bit more appealing. And that is all about this one. Fine. So just to give you a complete recap of whatever difference we discussed, the first is always the visualization aspect. So as you can see over here, when it comes to the heat map, it's more about having the rectangular or square, and under that particular grid, under that whole grid, you will have subgrids where it's more like denotes the square kind of a thing. Okay, when it comes to the matrix, it's more like a bubbles either. Okay, it's a bubbles. And when it comes to tree map, it's again a complete rectangular, and each of the, like in that whole rectangular, the subgrids which are present is more like a rectangular thing. Okay, here the subgrids are more like a square in the heat map. Okay, so that's the first point of difference. The second point of difference is when it comes to heat maps and matrix chart, automatically, like if you have the count of rows, that will open up, like automatically that will open up when you try to open it in the form of lens. But when it comes to tree map, you actually need one of the segments as well. You need one of the dimension basically, because a lens, like whenever you first open a data set, if there's a measure field, that will automatically pop up. So definitely for heat map and matrix chart, one of the measures is completely fine. But when it comes to tree map, you need to have one of the dimension in segments, so that the chart gets displayed. Okay, ideally it will not show the count of rows. Okay, if you just open that, fine. Second point of difference. The third point of difference is definitely related to the trellis. Trellis is something which is not present under heat map and matrix chart, which is something present under tree map. Okay, now along with the third point of difference, we can classify the fourth point of difference, but it's more like a third point of difference only. Okay, but anyways, the fourth point of difference is like when it comes to the heat map and matrix, we are dealing with the x-axis, y-axis. The axis plays an important role to identify that numbers when you have a certain dimensions, but when it comes to tree map, we don't have this axis part into consideration. Okay, that's the fourth point of difference. And yeah, the fifth point of difference is definitely related to the fact that when it comes to heat map, we just have to identify with the colors uh, whatever separate dimensions are that can be identified with the colors. But when it comes to matrix chart, we can identify different dimensions with the help of so basically here you can have only one dimension, right, under heat map. Here you can have multiple dimensions actually. Uh, I mean not multiple, but at least two dimensions, two different dimensions, something which you cannot have in heat map. And when it comes to tree map, here also you can have just one dimensions, right? So basically that's the fifth point of difference where in heat map you can have one dimensions, in tree map you can have only one dimension, but here you can have two dimensions under matrix. Okay, that's the fifth point. And sixth point, as I was saying, like the uh, the color aspect as well, that you can identify only with colors when it comes to heat map and tree map. Okay, the different colors which are there. But yeah, when it comes to matrix, you can identify with the colors as well as the size of the chart. Okay, and when it comes to heat map and this one, like here you have that option of, in the tree map you have that option of showing the values, how you want to show the values are. But when it comes to heat map and this one, it's more like fitting, auto fitting that between the charts. Okay, between that widgets, that's more kind of options, and the different options you will have in the axis, but which is definitely not present on the tree map. So I think we have walked through 6 point of difference, which is definitely amazing. And yeah, I hope in interview if they ask you such kind of question, you will be able to answer that. So yeah, that's about this complete revision altogether, which we did about the grids. Okay, the different subcharts between which are present on the grids and what are the difference between each one of them. And yeah, that's it about this one. In the next video, we will actually go to the map section. We will cover, what are the different subcharts which are present on the map, and we will walk through each one of them. Okay. So yeah, that's it about this one. Thank you.